Welcome to the weekend edition of NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. On Friday morning as of 9:30 a.m., high pressure is slowly moving off the Mid-Atlantic coast, and that's an important fact here because with that high pressure system exiting, that means that warmer conditions will start to build into the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area as we move forward over the next 24 hours. Meanwhile, we have an area of low pressure developing in the Gulf of Mexico via a strong disturbance that is developing over the southern plains, and we also have a rather impressive Alberta Clipper diving towards the Great Lakes that will all have an impact on the northern Mid-Atlantic this weekend. The good news is that this does not look like a major storm, and I'll explain why. The bad news is that even though we won't have heavy snow, there will be plenty of rain, and that's going to cause some problems. So let's take a look at the latest water vapor satellite picture. As of 9:30 a.m., notice that there is plenty of moisture developing over the southeast. Now the good news is that because this disturbance over the southern plains is so far to the west, and notice how the dry air, the red areas, are moving west to east. That basically means that the upper level winds are also moving west to east. So right now, the majority of this moisture over the southeast is moving out into the Atlantic and having no significant impact on the northern Mid-Atlantic, aside from some increase in clouds. However, notice the disturbance over the northern plains. That is our Alberta Clipper, and that disturbance will start to interact with the disturbance over the southern plains, and although it's not a complete phase, it does pull the storm further north. Unlike other times, though, there won't be a high pressure system over the northern New England and parts of the St. Lawrence River Valley, which means that warm air is going to be able to build into the coastal plain. So that means that the precipitation will fall mostly as rain for New York City and Philadelphia and much of the coast. However, as you move into the interior, some of this colder air will remain in place and some moderate snow will fall. This low pressure system is going to be a fast mover. It comes in on tomorrow morning, roughly around 9 a.m. for most locations, and exits by 11 p.m. And for the most part, this storm will not really be much of an impact, more of a nuisance, and there will be some flash flooding concerns. Let's take a look at the latest forecast that I have for this storm. Over the far interior, we're talking northeastern Pennsylvania, the immediate New Jersey border with Pennsylvania as well, up through the central Hudson Valley and into northern Connecticut. Anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow and sleet can be expected. This is going to be a wet snow, and it's because of the sleet and possibly even a little bit of freezing rain mixing in, accumulation totals are going to be held down to a light to moderate snowfall for the most part. A little bit more to the southwest, basically to the west and the north of the Philadelphia metro, up through the rest of northwestern New Jersey, the southern Hudson Valley, and through central Connecticut, looking anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow. It will change over to rain at times, especially in the afternoon, thus limiting accumulations. And this rain will change back over to snow before finally ending. So we're looking overall 1 to 3 inches of snow, again, not a big deal. Now along the coast, up to an inch of rain will be possible because the majority of the moisture and lifting is going to be focused again along the coast. Unfortunately, when you have heavy rain combined with a melting snowpack, because temperatures are going to be in the upper 30s to as high as the mid 40s, that leads to some localized flooding, especially in areas where the drainage isn't as good because of all the snow on the ground. So you're going to have some cases of urban flooding, some major ponding on the roadways. Visibility at times will be below 4 miles in this moderate to heavy rain. Overall, if you're driving just because it's rain, there's still going to be a pretty good threat for hydroplaning. So just use some caution out there when you're driving on Saturday. As the rain leaves, cold air will race in. There could be a few snow showers lingering, especially over parts of Connecticut and Long Island, that could produce a trace to maybe 2 inches of snow at most. The ground is going to be pretty warm by this point on Saturday night, even with the temperatures crashing. So I think that there will be some problems with accumulation of snow, especially on the roadways. But still, keep in mind that a few scattered snow showers will be possible at the end of this storm. So clearly this is not a major winter storm for the region, but still will have some minor impacts. Now I know that there's a lot of buzz about a major storm for next week. Let's take a look at the latest data. This is the European model guidance from the Penn State eWall, and this is as of Wednesday night. Now, before we get to this point, on Monday night to Tuesday, an Arctic cold front is going to move through the region. Temperatures are going to crash. It's going to be scattered snow showers. Not really a huge precipitation event at this time. However, we will clearly feel the difference in temperatures as temperatures will struggle in the 20s by Wednesday afternoon. So clearly we're going to have an Arctic air mass in place. Now, by Wednesday night, we have a somewhat developing 500 millibar low trying to form around 50 north and 50 west, which is important because that creates a little bit more convergence and confluence over parts of the St. Lawrence River Valley back through the eastern Great Lakes. We clearly have our polar vortex sitting up around central Canada, and we have a very strong disturbance diving into the southwest United States and towards the southern plains. Is this a setup for a major winter storm? Well, it could be. It really depends on exactly how these disturbances, all this red you see in the central part of the country, interact and basically phase over the next several days after Wednesday. So clearly on Thursday and Friday, there is a potential for a major winter storm. That does not mean that there's a guarantee for heavy snow for parts of Philadelphia and New York City, but it clearly means that there is a significant threat. When we look at 850 millibars, you can clearly see that there is plenty of cold air building into the northern Mid-Atlantic. Minus 10 degrees Celsius at 850 millibars is some pretty cold air. And notice down over the southern plains, there is some significant packing of this thermal gradient. From southern Texas to central Oklahoma, temperatures range from 10 plus to around 14 minus. And that is a very, very strong thermal gradient at 850 millibars. So we clearly are dealing with a very dynamic and powerful winter storm over the southern plains by Wednesday night. Where does the low go from there? Well, that again depends on the interaction of disturbances, the position of the best convergence and confluence aloft, and of course the thermal gradient as it sets up at 850 millibars. Clearly looking at this, there is a potential for at least some moderate snowfall to begin with this storm. Whether it remains all snow, changes over to an icy mix, or changes over to rain will depend on the interaction of all these features in the atmosphere at this time next week, and also, most importantly, exactly where this high pressure system is over the northern Mid-Atlantic. Now, at the surface on the European model guidance, the high pressure system is exiting off the New Jersey coast. Now, if this was the case, I would look for a rain event for much of especially southern New Jersey, but most likely changing over to rain for New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan areas. However, as you saw with the convergence and confluence aloft over the St. Lawrence River Valley, I'm not quite convinced that the high pressure system will end up in that location. We're going to have to watch this storm and see exactly how it evolves. We're dealing with a Miller A type storm, which basically means it's going to develop in the Gulf of Mexico and shoot right up the east coast. Exactly how this storm tracks and how much moisture it pulls up, combined with exactly where this Arctic high pressure system is finally located on Thursday, could have a significant impact on the entire forecast and would likely lead to a major winter storm with significant snow or ice accumulation. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this storm. Clearly it's a major storm to keep an eye on. All the features are in place. The question is, how do they interact? So right now, just be aware that a major storm is on the way, but don't get worried too much. Don't buy into the hype just yet. Just keep an eye on the storm and we'll see how it evolves. I'll have more data on this storm by Monday because up to this point through this weekend, we really don't have any of the players on the field to really correctly analyze this storm. There's a potential, yes, but that's all it is right now, is a potential. Thank you for visiting NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. Have a great time watching the Super Bowl. Have a great day.